The first thing you should know about my friend Andrew is that he quite enjoys roasting me. If you've been tuning into the show, you've probably noticed. He makes a habit, for example, of turning these cold opens into exposés of my flaws and foibles. It's infuriating. The next thing you should know about Andrew is that this tendency of his turns out to be one of the reasons we are such dear friends. In the before times, I didn't understand, and believed, in fact, that Andrew's sincerity and positivity made him my favorite. But here in week whatever of the end of the world as we know it, I've had as much isolation and downtime as everyone else to reassess my values and relationships and my purpose on this big blue marble. Turns out, this choose joy, aggressively optimistic, we live in hope girl needs a healthy dose of snark to feel all right. If you are calling me out on my bullshit, I feel like you're telling me the truth.
The first thing you should know about my friend Mrs. Filholm is that she's finally done it. Done what, you're probably wondering? Well, several weeks ago, Mrs. Filholm started writing messages on the walkways near her home, the dollhouse on Shakedown Street. She started with a couple small, encouraging messages, and those grew into large, ornate quotations that span several concrete segments in the walkway. People started to notice, including the world-famous musician Michael Franti, who shined a spotlight on Mrs. Filholm's work when he commented on her Instagram post. The next thing you should know is that Mrs. Filholm might have flown under the radar if not for that comment from Michael Franti. The Denver Parks Department may never have discovered Mrs. Filholm's role in the vandalism on East Denver sidewalks, but that comment was the lead that they needed to crack the case wide open. Dear listeners, this week I have bad news and good news. The bad news is that Mrs. Filholm is currently in prison. The good news is that the warden is going to allow her to continue recording this show. How is it in there, Mrs. Filholm? Welcome to Half My Age, a weekly show in which a 25-year-old adult and a 50-year-old child help each other make sense of the world.
It's great. I get 3 solid meals a day, so I'm eating again. Unlike when I live alone. I'm not living alone anymore.
Three hots and a cot?
Yeah, and I'm not living alone, really. You know, here in prison, I have camaraderie. Here at the end of the world, I'm not in social isolation anymore because I've got friends now.
I have been wondering what's going on in the prisons right now. I heard a report that coronavirus did go through the prison system, but it didn't do a whole lot of damage. I think that the people who are in prison are generally younger and healthier, I guess. But they did a random sample of inmates, and they found some crazy high percentage of them either had coronavirus or had the antibodies for coronavirus.
As I believe you know, I refuse to engage in news like that because it doesn't help me to hear about the coronavirus and how it's affecting. I understand. I'm like you. I wonder about it. As I was saying that, surely if I were really in prison, I wouldn't be.
They're probably 6 feet apart.
I don't know, and I don't actually care. All I was going to say is they have more face tattoos than my regular friends, but that was just a joke about prison. As you know, I don't want to talk about it.
Would you like to talk about your comment from the world-famous musician?
I would like to say thank you for understanding how cool it was for me just for a moment. It means nothing, and Michael Franti is the kind of guy, I am sure, especially now at the end of the world where he can't tour, who reaches out to his fans. You know what I mean? So I posted quotes, I posted lyrics from a song of his that I posted them because I find them uplifting and everything. And he just said he loved it. And that was really cute. And it made me happy. But thanks for getting it because I sent it to you and like a couple of comic friends right away. Because it was just like, oh my God, how cool, right? Like literally that amount of excitement. Oh my God, Michael Franti liked my thing. That's awesome. And the 2 comic friends wrote back, who dat? They didn't know it was. And I was like, Andrew knows. It's not your age.
I've actually seen him twice in concert. And I would love to see you stand next to him because he is a giant. He's like 6'8". And you're not tiny, but you're certainly not big. It must be it would be very funny to see.
5'2" is pretty small.
I wouldn't say that 5'2" is small because the 2 people I know who are named Lisa and are 5'2" punch way beyond their weight in terms of personality and I don't know.
I seem bigger than I am. If I hear that I have big energy one more time, I'm going to punch somebody in the neck.
So I before we leave Michael Franti, I would like to say when I was writing the cold open, I did a quick Wikipedia on him to see, how other people describe him. And did you know when you Google him and the Google results come up in the sidebar, it says who they are, when their birthday was, that sort of thing? It labels him an American rapper, and I've never thought of Michael Franti as a rapper. I guess what he is doing there throughout his songs is rapping, but he fits more in the reggae category to me, or like the.
I would call him reggae rocker. Reggae rocker is when you were saying that, how I would describe him. I'd say reggae rocker. I am sure I have seen reggae rapper before, and I'll buy that because he does do that kind of thing. But yeah, no. I know, I'm with you. I'm 100% with you. American rapper, that's funny. Did you say it was Wikipedia?
It doesn't say that it's coming from Wikipedia. It's that sidebar, when...
So just one doesn't know who is the keeper of this vernacular. And I would like to know, really. I would like to sit them down and pick their brains about why they voted to put rapper as the main identifier for Michael Franti. I really would. I'd like to know more about that, Andrew.
I wonder how he feels about that. That puts him, when you think about American rappers, you think about like Jay-Z and 50 Cent and people like that. And somehow that seems to be the antithesis of Michael Franti's vibe.
No, 100%, right. He seems to be the reggae vibe because it's about, sunshine and one love, motherfuckers.
It's all one love. I've never once heard him say, fuck the police.
It's all one love. No, I haven't either. I've never heard him say bitches and hoes. Never once. No, sweetheart. Doesn't he seem like a genuine homegrown American sweetheart?
He is. I remember, so I saw him in high school at the, when the First Bank Center seemed all brand new. And it was interesting. It was like nothing I'd ever seen before because it was a family show. And it's got like all the pot smoking reggae fans that you normally see at a concert like this, with children sprinkled in. And I went to the evening show, but I understand he also did a yoga show in the morning.
Oh, I remember that.
He's got a different kind of tour than most other musicians.
Yeah, and you don't like crossing the streams like that. You don't like it when people fall into two different categories at once. Even though everybody always does, and we've talked about it a lot. But, of course, to me, that feels like, what's weird about that, man? That sounds like a great day.
What's going on this week, Mrs. Filholm? Have you spent any time in your meditation garden?
Yeah. But first of all, I do want, there's actually more Michael Franti, which is interesting. So that happened. I was annoyed at, with some of my friends for not getting it. Couple of my other friends, including you, got it like that. And literally, it was just that amount of like, aw, okay, listen, it's the apocalypse. And we don't feel seen enough, especially people like me, right? So I felt seen by Michael Franti for 1 second. It made me feel good. The next morning, I was going on my walk. I saw my neighbors who have a baby who's 7 months old now. Oh, I can't get 6 feet close to him. And we have the masks on. But when I'm standing outside and he is in his mama's front pack, that's about the cute. No, there's not the cutest age of a baby, but it's a real cute age. Like he's practicing his voice. It's springtime, so it's like this baby is growing from a seed into a bud or a sprout, like everything in my yard. So he's like kicking and smiling. I mean, and he can't do anything yet, but he's like it will just do. Babies just practice. Oh, it's so funny. So we're out there. Also, it's so funny. God, it's funny. It's so good. I mean, and you just go, good job, little baby. Keep doing it. Oh my God. And it's really like they're practicing. They don't even yet seem to know that they're reaching you with their ears. Do you know what I mean? They know you're talking. It's funny to me. I love that. Anyway, this couple also has chickens, and their hens have laid a lot, so I got 24 eggs from them.
Oh, very nice.
My beautiful, beautiful eggs. I'm so glad to have the good eggs back. Springtime on Shakedown Street. And guess what? That baby. So I told them, you guys, the sidewalk show. Oh, no, they didn't. I probably did. I can't remember how it came up, but I told them, because they go on walks every day. Somehow it came up that that was me doing that. As it does in conversation, I guess. And it was so funny. The woman of the couple said, oh, yeah, we've been seeing that. And I was wondering it makes total sense that was you. And I'm like, you don't really know me. How do you, I don't even come out in the front of my.
It's the pink glasses, Mrs. Filholm.
I guess. Yeah. I have big energy. Guess what? So I told them, oh my God, I'm so excited. Michael Franti just, saw me on Instagram. And then they said, Oh man, his shows just got canceled this summer. And I said, I did see that. And then I remembered that last summer when she was pregnant, I saw them packing up the van to go up to Red Rocks for Michael Franti. And I think they did both shows. Like they're those people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the mom says to me, well, do you know that Mikey is named after Michael Franti? The baby is Mikey. And he's named after Michael Franti. The
Wow.
baby in the front back who's practicing his voice is named
That's some
Mikey.
serious love.
That's some serious love. But his name is Michael, and it was after Michael Franti. So that was so also like, I don't know. I just felt like everything was coming together, man, because I wrote the thing, and then Michael Franti, and then the baby was named. I didn't know. It was just cute.
When you were describing seeing the baby in the front pack, it made me think of my own walks. And there's this thing I do when I pass people in order to avoid making eye contact and just sharing that look of knowing that they're not wearing a mask and I'm not wearing a mask and we're both bad people. I usually look at their dog and feign a smile as if I was a dog person and appreciated their pet. Because that seems like the kind of thing dog people want from non-dog people is appreciation of their dog.
Correct.
But the other version of that is when someone has a baby, I look at the baby and I actually smile. Babies on the walks make me happy too.
Mm-hmm. You should be wearing a mask, jerk. God, doesn't matter. I don't care. I do care, but I know. Okay, the dog thing, absolutely. In fact, I often will greet out loud the dog. Oh, hey, buddy, a dog. Sure. Hey, buddy. I will say, cute, cute ears. For example,
Cute ears.
if it's a dog that has cute ears, for example, I will greet the dog. Yeah.
That seems a little too friendly to me because I want to give them, just like an appreciative look. But I don't want them to invite me in to pet their dog, or even worse, the people who, move over a little bit so that the dog's leash, so the dog can reach you while it's still on its leash and jump on you. Because that's also a move people like to do, is let their dogs jump on other people.
Oh, I hate it so much, dude. This is the thing. You and I are at similar, if not identical. We're at identical goals here. I agree with you. Not because I am not wearing a mask. When I am walking and I am close to people, I wear a bandana or a mask. Mostly, I get that it's performative, but I'm willing to play along because of society. I'm willing to not be a dick and make people feel safe. So I will wear a mask if there are people around. However, so it's not for the same reason, but we have the same objective, which is I don't want to talk to you. I don't want your dog to come near me. And please don't let your dog jump up on me or tell me about I want to talk to you is basically the goal, right? I am on my walk. You are on your walk. I would prefer it if there were no other people on this walk. Would you concur, Mr. Bridges?
Absolutely.
Thank you. So I see that you are on my walk, and I'm assuming you feel similarly, other human being. So here's what I'm saying. I think that my version of greeting the dog, as you say, that seems friendly. I agree. It does seem, and I'm going to take this into account and probably change my ways because now that I realize that all you have to do, so you're saying all you do is you just look at the dog.
I just look at the dog and smile
Fake
appreciatively.
Sure, okay. Well, first of all, if I'm wearing a mask, you can't do that. That's one of the weird things on the walks. I think we've talked about it is you're behind a mask and I'm usually behind sunglasses, right? So, I mean, if I'm in a store behind a mask, I trust that at Home Depot, they can see me, the twinkle in my eye that I'm smiling at them when I'm asking, please, could you help me with this? And they're telling me we literally can't, which happened this week. But when I got the sunglasses and the, face mask, there's no way to tell. So I feel like there requires a little bit of a vocal thing on my part. Also, I do it without the face mask. I did it in the before times I greet the dogs, which, like I said, I'm now realizing that is too friendly. But for me, with my big energy, I guess.
What does that mean? You say
I don't
that people,
know what it means.
People must be telling you this all the time because you warned me that if whoever the next person is that says you have big energy, they're going to get what's coming to them.
Turns out it's me. It's me. I don't know. People just say it a lot. Big energy, I've literally heard, and just, you have so much energy. You have a lot of energy. I hear it. I know it. I also hear it often as I don't think they're saying it like it's a good thing.
I don't know. It sounds like this is mostly driven by you. It could all be in your head. I I wouldn't fret too much about the big energy or the small energy or any kind of energy, because I don't go in on the crystals or the planets or any kind of energy talk. It's a non-starter for me. Mm-mm.
That's not true. You love discussing it. Do you want to hear? Did I tell you what I saw my friend Andy Hamilton do? Speaking of tarot cards.
Who is Andy Hamilton?
No, I don't think I did. Okay, it's a comic, and I just brought him up because I would never steal a joke. But on Instagram, and I only saw it once, and I think he's done it again, and I'm not sure if this is actually the bit, but I hope it is. And if it's not, I don't care. I'll make it the bit. So he pulls a tarot card on Instagram in general, right? It's not like you're calling it. He's just pulling it for the masses. And he introduced himself as a character named Brandon. And I didn't even hear the premise, really. Like, I'm pulling it for... And he kind of does that voice like this. I'm pulling it for the universe or for universal. I don't know what. But the idea that he's pulling a tarot card for not a specific thing or person is funny to me, because, of course, it's supposed to be this groovy thing. And then he pulls a tarot card, and then he just describes the card. He doesn't take it any further. He doesn't do any interpretation of what it might mean in your life or in the universe. Just like, and there's a blue woman here in the top corner of the card.
Oh, yeah?
Who seems to be floating or whatever. He just describes the card.
And looks agitated, as if she had just been through the Wendy's drive-thru and they had messed up her order, leaving out her Frosty. Or even worse, giving her a vanilla Frosty instead of a chocolate Frosty.
What are you doing?
I'm reading the card to you.
Right now? You just made that up?
I'm explaining her expression.
You just made that up right now off the top of your head?
I sure did.
That was weird, because I thought you were quoting something, because it was really funny. Yes, that. Yes, it was like that, but instead of explaining, oh my God, and now I hate that I'm talking about it, because I got so confused by your funny thing and I didn't even laugh. What is wrong with me today?
I don't know. I'm feeling a little goofy today again.
I'm feeling goofy too. I want to talk about the dogs and masks in the park way more than I want to talk. Well, I want to talk about Andy Hamilton. Thing.
I want to go back, and I want to amend my previous statement about not wearing a mask.
Thank you.
So I have been on my walks. I've been wearing my red buff, which I got in ski school when I was in 6th grade. Mm-hmm. And I mean, most of the time, the damn thing, it falls off my nose. It falls off whatever. It's a pain in the ass. So if I'm coming along the path, which, by the way, I live in a movie set. All of our sidewalks are meant for people to walk three abreast, so that you can
distance in your neighborhood,
so that you can have your walking meetings, because we're all good corporate walker meeting havers. But if I see someone who is walking towards me without a mask, I don't even bother to lift the thing up over my nose. Whereas if I see an old person, particularly an old person wearing a mask, giving me the stink eye,
or yelling at you about you have to help with the 6 feet, especially.
That's right. That's when this thing comes up and over the nose.
Good job. Okay, good. I mean, because then you're playing along with the performative elements of it, I feel.
Right. It's totally performative, and it's based on what the person approaching me is doing, right? If they don't seem to care, then I don't care. If they do care, I'm covering my ass. In this case, my ass is my nose.
Your ass is your nose. Yeah, sure, I understand. And sometimes...
Title. Well, I mentioned that, and while it seems so funny, I took a look at our numbers this week, and our numbers have been dwindling progressively over the last, basically since we started recording this podcast more than a year ago. Mm-hmm. So it's time for all of our listeners to go out, tell a friend, get them involved, and we're going to help you out. We're going to make the titles punchy, like your nose is your ass, so that...
in this case, my nose was my ass.
So that it's easy to recommend, easy to find, and when people see that, they're going to want to click on it. It's time to expand the readership of half my age.
Well, the problem with that is that then once we get, the clickbait works and people get to us, then they have to listen to this nonsense in their ear holes. So I don't really feel strong recommending it, or feel that any of our listeners would feel strongly recommending it to their friends. Why would you listen to this banter?
Mrs. Filholm, how are we going to develop a small dedicated audience that will kill for us if we don't ever ask them to do smaller things, so that we can build up towards that killing?
Oh, that's so true. Right. Okay, you're right. I got to practice my cult leadership skills. Okay, so everybody on this podcast listening right now, that's right. Spread the love, spread the joy. This is a podcast about joy and love and tips for the intergenerational communication. And you must and should share it with everybody. But I know that's working because guess what? I have heard from listener Jen who bought herself a robot vacuum.
Oh, she did? Congratulations, listener Jen, on your new purchase. You're going to love it.
If she did not use our affiliate link, she's probably banned from listening to the show, wouldn't you say?
I sure
would.
right?
That's kind of the deal, right? It's not just that we want you to have the robot in your home because it is awesome. A dollar bill. Am I right?
Of course.
So anyway, she got one. Its name is Walter. It would like to be friends with Ferdinand and DJ Roomba. It would like to be friends, but then for a week, get this, Walter couldn't connect to the internet.
Oh no, Walter.
And she asked me about it, and then I followed up, and I said, "Is Walter connected to the internet?" And she said, "No, not yet, but I." And she said, actually, I should look what she said. It was pretty funny. She said, "No, not yet, but he's thinking about it." But she said, "I am capable of, hitting the button myself. It's all good." And then, like the next day, she said, "Walter woke up overnight, and now he's connected, fully connected." So maybe he was just like coming to life.
I think that's quite a common experience. We'll have to ask our healthcare provider listeners, but I feel like a lot of people bring home babies that aren't exactly as they expected them to be for the first couple of weeks, and then they just kind of grow into being a real functional human.
That does not seem like an accurate metaphor because no, the Roomba was broken when she got it. It wasn't doing the thing it was supposed to do. Babies cannot help doing the things they are supposed to do. That would more be like if the baby didn't poop for a week, Andrew, or didn't cry for a week. That would be like alarming, like, hey, something's broken in this baby. And that's what it's like if it says it's going to hook up to the internet and be super fancy and awesome. And then when it doesn't, you go, I guess this is a bad baby. This is a broken baby.
Mrs. Filholm, sometimes I wonder why this podcast hasn't made us millions and why sponsors aren't reaching out to us, begging us to sell their what do you call that stuff? Their baby foot. And then I realized that whenever I try to pump the Roomba, you're always talking about how it's broken.
Yeah, well, I still love it. I love it. I love my Roomba. I really, truly love it. It is a little frustrating sometimes. It is now there. The child metaphor, here we go. The child metaphor completely works. It is like a child I love, Andrew, and sometimes that child frustrates me because it tells me its room is clean when I go, okay, we have a disagreement here. Do you want me to show you what I think is a clean room?
See, you're saying bad things about the Roomba again, Mrs. Filholm.
But I love it. I love my child. It's like a child who does things that frustrate me. And you know what I would always say to my child? I love you. I don't always love the things that you do, but my love for you cannot ever waver. That's how I feel about the Roomba. Isn't that the best endorsement you can give a product? I love it like a human being. And right now it's my only companion who I live with. So we're in love as well.
That's true. Actually, while we're on the topic of Roombas, there was a viral tweet that went around, and I'll see if I can find it. It's like, give me 1 second. Stand by. It's from author Abby Jimenez, and it was on April 28th, and it's one of those ones where it's, a person and then a colon saying something, and then a person and then a colon saying something else. It says
like
me
a dialogue, you mean?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
I guess there's a word for that, huh? Anyways. She says, me before quarantine watching Castaway. Really? He's best friends with a ball? And then she says, me during quarantine. Look at you go, Roomba, you crazy son of a bitch.
That's good. Of course, that was me before and during quarantine, as he's my only companion. That's funny. Oh, that's good. I like that a lot. Yeah. Oh, boy, it's funny, isn't it? That's a good one. I still can't do the Twitter. It's still too busy and noisy for me. Okay, so no, I mean, I love the Roomba truly, like it is my companion. But I walked a dog for a neighbor I don't know last week. A different neighbor asked me because it's kind of a guy who had surgery, so he's housebound now. He is elderly, and I don't think he's normal. I think normally he can at least walk his dog, and he's had something happen, and he has surgery, and he's on I don't know what machine. But somebody so I guess the neighborhood has been putting together a dog walking schedule, and somehow they thought of me, and I got volunteered, and I said to the person who volunteered me, now, why would you do that? Because I famously love dogs.
You were voluntold.
I was voluntold. And that has happened to me a lot in my life. So I am always a little bit bumped by it. Like, hey, I don't want to do the concession stand for the baseball thing. I was voluntold to do that for 8 years. My God, the Gatorade I hauled. So it felt like that. It was like a little PTSD from hauling Gatorade, to tell you the truth. Anyway, and everybody said the guy is harmless and the dog is sweet, old dog. And it was actually very cute. The old dog named Max, and I took him for a walk and I showed him the sidewalk chalk. He liked the Michael Franti chalk a lot. And he's an old black dog, so he looked really pretty standing next to it. He's a nice looking dog. And he was really cute. And of course, when you're walking a dog on the path, that is a little bit different. But then the other weird thing is that then the people who are doing like we do, like smiling at your dog, right? Okay, this is interesting. Right. Like we just discussed. There are people who are doing that or who say like cute dog or cute ears or whatever. And then I feel weird because it's not my dog.
Right. I've got nothing invested in this four-legged animal. No need to compliment it, sir.
No need to compliment. Move along, please. There's no need. This is not a conversation starter. This is not, right? Like, because there's that thing, right? Like with guys and puppies, or probably women too. Of course, you take a puppy. Yeah, of course, that's true. In fact, somebody used to borrow somebody else's dog, like a young girl I knew, college age girl. Right. Like then whatever. You have a puppy and you go to a college campus, you're going to pull, right? It's like attraction bait. And and it's like this one right here, this dog, this is not a conversation starter. Believe it or not, I am not. And I think that a lot of times for dog owners, it's a conversation starter. I know that's true. We got to stop hating on pet owners because most people are pet owners and love them. And we really, do you know, I tell a joke about dogs and
I know. I wanted to bring that up. I still think about that to this day. That's the funniest joke you have. No offense. But it is. And you can't tell it. And I the first time you said you can't say the joke, I'm like, why in the hell can't you say the joke? And I think you're actually right. Do you wanna tell our listeners the joke?
Right. So I tell a whole shtick about why I think dogs get away with murder because we treat them better than people. I mean, and it starts like this joke is I can tell. I mean, man's best friend. I'm just saying, my friends don't chew up my $600 Coach purse, okay, without apologizing or offering to pay for it, okay? I mean, like that. I tell jokes, like I'm just saying, if you come over to my house and lick me in places I don't want to be licked and jump all up on me and pee on my rug, we're not friends, okay? And then I say, I actually feel like I have to set this up and not just tell the punchline, Andrew, because the punchline is so offensive to people, okay? Then I say, I prefer dogs who know their place, which is outside herding cattle. I like dogs who work. I grew up in the country. That's what we thought dogs were for, to serve us and whatever. And then I say something, but you can't eat dogs, at least not in this country. You're not allowed to eat them. Dogs get away with murder. And then I talk about how much people spend on their vet bill or their food and their special precious food. And of course, in that joke, when I wrote it, I was not writing about a dog of any kind. I was writing about Whiskers, your cat. But it works in comedy. You can do that, Andrew. You can kind of fictionalize it to make it funnier. And how precious they're treated with their menus and all of that. And they have more attention to their diets than any human beings I know. And then I say the vet bill thing, and I say it's a bad financial plan because I know vet healthcare for your dogs costs so much money. You guys, a bullet costs 25 cents. That's my joke. And I think it's true.
Not only is it true, but it is insane. You look at one vet bill, and it's like, how is this thing that shits on the floor and vomits when I give it, designer food? How is it worth it? What am I receiving as compensation for taking care of this beast?
I keep saying that to people, and I mean, and then people who know that about me and know that I'm being shticky and kind of funny about it, like try to sort of tell me about their dogs, and then they'll tell me something hideous, right? Like like your dumb cat clawed up our couch and whatever, and I go, now remind me of the benefits of owning a pet. I mean, no, I know, and seriously, and I have been told, and I think it is true that in Denver, especially, that joke is just not okay. Not okay. Maybe if I am doing a really long set and I have warmed them up and they know I'm not evil, maybe I can get away with it, because that's true. You can get away with a lot more things when they know, in 4 minutes or 5 minutes, if that's going to be my brand, I agree. I think it's funny. And then the truth is there's so much, it's a good setup for, because then what I say right after that is, you guys, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just a little bitter because my husband of 22 years left me for a dog. And then I tell the jokes that, of course, that's not true, that I was left for a dog. But we did go through a very relatable and funny period in our marriage there at the very end when I did feel like my husband loved the dog more than me. And the joke that I say, which is real, is I just wish I could tell you, I wish I could describe what it feels like to hear, there's my pretty girl, and realize he's not talking about you. Because that is what happened to me. And that's a very funny thing. And middle-aged women can relate to it. It's a trope in society that the man gets a dog and a girl dog, and the woman feels it's a trope. It's overdone. But so my point is, like, dog stuff is like a really good lead up to it. And I can still do the dog material without the 25-cent line. But man, it hurts people. And even this talking about it and me saying, what is the benefit of an animal? Listen, I like animals and I can be very good with them. My brother just got a new cat, and I saw it because I was dropping off claycation to his son. This cat is so cute. Its face is so cute. It has a hilarious personality, like very fun. It's a funny little comedy cat. And that I was going,
a funny little comedy cat.
It is. He's like a trickster. He does Whiskers do this? He goes and like steals pens and stuff and runs off with them. Does Whiskers do that?
No, Whiskers doesn't steal things.
He steals things. This little cat steals things, and he plays fetch.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Oh my God, he has a little cat ball, like a little cat toy, and he brings it to you, and then he'll chase it and he actually plays fetch. Oh my, and he's cute. Like, he looks like a cartoon picture of a cat. And I mean, I was kind of want that cat. I mean, I was almost like, can I have that cat? But then I think about the reality of me bringing the cat home, and I go, oh no, cat hair all over my Pendleton blanket. I can't. This aggression will not stand. No, that really pulls the room together, and I cannot have cat pee on stuff. Nope. Dogs. Nope. I get it during the apocalypse. Actually, that for some people, like a lot of people, probably having a dog to walk who needs to get up, early and go out at a certain time every day has been very healthy for people. I can imagine. I have felt that, like, ooh, I really don't have that. No, but I don't want an animal. Unless it's a goat. I don't want that either, but that seems hilarious. And you could get milk and make cheese. Again, sure. I like the service animal. I don't need bees, but the mice across the street got all the bees. No, that's not true.
That's a non sequitur if I've ever heard one.
That was a total non sequitur. I'm sorry. Okay, back to Mikey, who's named after Michael Franti. Back to the eggs and the hens who are laying because it is springtime. Those neighbors also have bees. They have hives of bees.
Gosh, they've got like a real urban farm over there, huh?
100%. Yeah. And I have produce over here, and the pottery and the bidet, quite frankly. I mean, I think we can all survive here. It can become a bigger compound than just the dollhouse on Shakedown Street. It can become more, and we can include a couple more houses, and we're all going to be just fine. Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yeah, we're really, and they are really good gardeners, and they're both chefs, so they are also out of work and on unemployment right now. And so we talk a lot about gardening, and they're good at it, and they've lived here longer than I have, so like they know right what's good right here. And they actually have some plants, some seedlings that they have grown over the winter that they're going to give to me. I mean, they said we have some extra tomato plants, stuff like that, and they'll help me plot my garden, which I think I can do it fine and be wise about it, but it's always good to have a real gardener there to remind you, beans should go in this corner because of this reason. I mean, I've been thinking about it, Andrew. I have some plans. Anyway, they also have a brick pizza oven. Let's see, bees, chickens. My understanding is that their beehives, the way that they have them, like the bees could come back to those hives, and whatever it is, whatever's left there, and the mice ate them all up. The mice ate them all up. The mice didn't. I don't think the mice ate the bees. But anyway, the mice, they had a mice problem this winter as well, but it wasn't in the house. We talked a lot about that. Listen, it's just great stepping outside my house and like across the fence talking to some neighbors sometimes, which is also like a little bit inaccurate because I have not been completely isolated, as you may have seen. I mean, I have had, once again, comedy people come over and help me in my backyard. And so, I mean, we really do remain distant and nobody's hugging, but they're there and they're making me laugh so hard. And like, that's what my cold open was about is, oh, I miss being insulted. It's really more about, you know what, that's not even true. What it is, I think, is that I've probably mentioned it here. The world feels like we're on sincerity overload. Like you don't want to be, like you're saying, you pull up your mask for the person who looks like they need that kindness given them, right? And also when you, back to the woman who was once screaming at you, get off the highway, right?
You have to help with the 6 feet.
Yeah, and you wanted to dump cold spaghetti on her head, and so did I, because that's so annoying. And I mean, really, I have people in my life like that, like, you know, who are just spinning out and like, yeah, and judging, especially the judging of other people. And they're not either wearing a mask or they went out and did this. And I find that every one of us has our moral loopholes there, right? Like we all have things we probably shouldn't be doing if we're on strict quarantine, but we judge each other. Anyway, my thought is for that woman and for these others who just seems, you know how much it would suck to be in her head? To be walking through the world like thinking that all the germs are everywhere and she can see them and they might get her. What a bummer.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So I try to be kind, is my point, Andrew. I try to walk with kindness, and I now have lost the reason for why I was saying that. It's unreleasable episode today. Backyard, pretty cool, though.
It seems that way. Definitely unreleasable. Yeah, tell me about the backyard. Actually, before we get to the backyard, we've touched on the topic of cults a couple times.
Oh, sure.
And this last week I watched Waco on Netflix. Have you had a chance to watch that?
No, yo, please tell me. Is it a documentary about Waco?
It is a documentary about Waco, but you lived through it, right?
Videos.
And this was in 1990?
I did not live through Waco, but yes, I was most aware of Waco. I wasn't there, if that's what you're saying.
That's not what I'm saying.
Branch Davidian, right?
Yeah. So I that all happened before I was born.
Yeah.
All I know is the word Waco, and I know there was some kind of like, I knew there was something bad that happened there, a massacre or something or other, but I didn't have the whole story until I watched this. It's another one of those Netflix 6-part documentaries.
Ooh, I'm so excited. That sounds right like my jam right now.
It was pretty good. I really, I don't know if enjoyed is the right word, but
right.
It sucked me right in, and I watched all the episodes in one day. As those Netflix documentaries do to me, I can't stop watching. They definitely end every episode with such a hook that you can't help but push play on the next one.
It really is good storytelling in that way, isn't it? Yeah, it's like right. You're right. It's like a Dan Brown novel where like, oh my God, I can't. And you know you're being handled. You know it's a hook, right? You know it's a tease, and you can go to bed or do your thing because that show will still be there for you. But you go, no, I want to. It just compels you to keep going. Okay. Did you watch Wild Wild Country back when it came out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Love. I mean, like you said, it's not like that I really enjoy it because it's hideous, right? It's a hideous example of something gone very wrong in human beings. But, oh, my God, I am fascinated by him. So, yeah, we absolutely lived through Waco. And, sure. And, you know, of course, not like you. We heard it in the news, but was it 1990, you said?
Let me look that up. I started looking and then I stopped.
That's probably about right. 1990 is probably about right.
No, it's actually in 1993, which was the year I was born.
What? Yeah, okay. I'm just trying to place it because I remember at somebody making the joke who worked at Kinko's back in that day when I was in graduate school. So I was in acting school then, and we were in Providence, Rhode Island. This guy worked at Kinko's, and they were instructed to answer the phone. Kinko's, your branch office at the time, and he would answer the phone. Kinko's, your branch Davidian. Funny, but also very dark and not appropriate. So that's like literally what I was trying to place right there was what year was that? So it happened right before then. And yeah, that tracks. 1993. I see you. Okay, well, great. That sounds like really good documentary watching for me. That's great. That's a great
Please do go watch it, and then maybe we can talk about it next week or something. Because I would be interested to know. It seems like that whole event was surrounded by a lack of understanding. You know, the news didn't quite get what was going on, and I assume people didn't get what was going on, and I assume it wasn't covered in the same way that news is covered today. I would be interested to know if their storytelling aligns with your experience or what you remember of it.
Yeah, I will be interested in that. Although that because certainly I do have some memories, and yeah, I will watch and keep that in mind. I don't have a ton, and I certainly at that age was not watching the news too much and being involved in television because I was in theater school, right? And so I mean, on part of it was that those were very, very long days. There were not many days, I suppose, on the weekends that you could sort of lie on the couch and watch TV. And they were long days that didn't cater toward watching the evening news on the reg. But it wasn't. But certainly I did, and I knew about it. Absolutely right. And that's interesting to wonder, how was I getting my information about it at the time in 1993? I'm thinking, like, I didn't even drive my car that much. I rode my bike back and forth, so I wasn't listening to car radio, but I certainly was aware of it. So I must have been, you know what, probably 11 o'clock news on the East Coast. I was seeing that. Yeah, that'll be interesting. Let's see. This week I had a week of preferring in terms of content to get me through the getting better, but still abject weirdness of how I've felt lately. Songs and music, and more than podcasts, which is very unusual. Usually I get through my days, even if I'm doing mindless work or whatever, with, podcasts. I want to learn something, or I don't want to be inspired, but I want to be entertained, whatever. I often, for a long, long time, that has been my go-to. And I have been listening way more to music than podcasts.
That's interesting. I told you last week that I'd been watching some concerts on YouTube, some Tiny Desk concerts, and I've definitely been much more into music as well. I'm still listening to just as many podcasts as I was before, but I'm just having a lot more interest in music, I guess.
Are you adding new music into your mix of what you like to listen to?
I'm adding some new music. I'm also just researching and doing some learning more about the bands and the songs I already like.
Oh, cool. I've done a little bit of that, like finding songs by bands that I like that are newer, like really Michael Franti. I know his older stuff better than his newer stuff, right? But it's interesting. Do you have a particular genre or something of music that has been like that you have been listening to just in that comfort space?
No, I mean, let's see. I did when Delaney and I first started dating. We each made each other a Spotify playlist of all things. That's the new version of a mixtape.
Yep.
So I did return to those playlists that we made when we just started dating, and that's pretty good.
That's cute.
The thing that's interesting me the most right now is there's a guy on YouTube. His name is Andrew Huang, and he's got to be my age, and he's got like a YouTube channel where he makes music, and he is a trained pianist, and he knows all sorts of music theory and that sort of thing. But he's really interested in synthesizers and making music out of electronic things and noises. And he's got a big setup, but he also tells you how it works. And I've been getting a lot of enjoyment learning about how sound works and how you can transform it and change it.
That sounds nice.
That's partly driven by me editing this podcast now. I feel like there's so many things I don't know about how sound works. I know to apply this filter because someone told me to, but I don't understand why. So I've been trying to answer those questions.
Dude, me too. You know what? I would mind, and I keep saying this, I wouldn't mind like taking an actual sort of, and I could do it, I mean, like on YouTube, just like sit down and go, teach me about sound from the get-go. Because like you, I have, like it is with all things, right? I have the tools, I can make it, and sometimes I come out with a really good product, but I don't exactly know how or why, right? And when there is something that I don't know how to control, I have no idea. I just feel like such an idiot in there. That sounds nice, though. Yeah, so I would like to do that, and again, I'll put that on my list of all the things I would like to do, and there are never enough hours in the day. It sounds nice. I just think it's so interesting as I am hearing you talk. Our experiences for the past 6 weeks have been so different. And I'm actually starting to feel worried, but I think that's completely wrong, that I have been unplugged so much that I might be missing out.
Oh, yeah?
I barely look at my computer.
What could you possibly be missing out on, Mrs. Filholm? Who cares?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Well, for one thing, I feel like I'm missing out on the experience of everybody else. I'm going, wait, so you sit down and you watch a YouTube about music being made. That sounds so cool. Golly, maybe I'm missing out on that. Because when I hear you say that, I honestly am like, what do you mean? You're sitting inside looking at your computer because it has been so nice.
Mm-hmm.
I still, I want to be outside, and I am outside, and I am digging and moving and walking and sidewalk chalking like it's my job, which is ridiculous. Did I tell you last week about my friend in LA who recommended that I get a mechanics board, rolling board for doing sidewalk chalk? Did we talk about that?
So that you can you don't smear your work?
Yeah, there's a friend of mine from high
That's
school.
brilliant.
She's like, right, not only not smear it, wreck my body. And people have asked, like, how do you do that? And I said, oh, you should. I mean, I on one hand, I should set up my tripod and take a video of what it looks like. But on the other hand, I think it's probably really ugly. Like I am my ass up, or down on my hands and knees and stretching and crouching. And I mean, and it's not like I write it out linear, right? I sort of sketch the whole thing out and then I'm jumping back and forth. And I think it looks insane, but probably interesting. Anyways, people have asked, like, how do you do that? What's that look like? And I was like, it's more athletic than you think. And I should wear knee pads. I mean, the truth is I should wear knee pads because I'm down on concrete, right? And he recommends a mechanics board just for my body, just like to roll back and forth, right? It's a great idea.
Absolutely.
However, what I said to him was, listen, it's compulsive enough already. I have now, because it was hard to find sidewalk chalk in the Denver metro, like I know, I went to one store and they didn't have it. So I took that as proof that there wasn't going to be any more. And I don't go out much. That's a true story, though. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go from this Target to that Michael. Well, I don't know what's even open. I don't know because I don't go out much. Anyway, so I ordered from Amazon, and what I ordered turns out to be like what a sidewalk chalk artists use. Ooh, you should see my palette of colors now. So I'm getting...
Yeah, make that show art. I want to see that.
Okay, I will. I'll bet it was about a year ago that we had our first color picture for show art, by the way. And you want to know why? Because that plum tree, which is in bloom now, did not lose its leaves. It's right outside the studio, and you took a picture of it and used it, and it was our first one that was in color because it was bright pink. Back to the mechanics board. If I said to him, the day I start like packing tools and stuff, to go do my sidewalk chalk is the day you guys should call the authorities on. I mean, really, like have me committed because I've gone mental.
My concern was you're already breaking the law. You're already a vandal.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's your stated intention, but in my brain, one of your intentions is to not be seen doing this. You maintain an air of mystery about who the Batman is and that sort of thing. If you've got a whole kit that you've got to schlep, it makes it very difficult to run. A,
that, B, insane, because why am I doing this? Like, why would I spend an hour of my day making that? Well, because Michael Franti saw it. That's the thing. Like, that was literally worth that hour, but it was an hour, if not longer. That's insane. And also now, I flaunt it. I do it in the middle of the day. And one time recently, a Parks and Rec little golf cart went by, and I was like, okay, this is it. Doesn't care. They don't really care. And I know I'm actually dying to be cited. Please, please, please give it to me. I don't run away because I'm not doing anything really that bad. So as I was saying, okay, so my experience being different than yours. So that for like a week was like, well, okay, first thing I do today, okay, I got to do my sidewalk chalk, like planning out what I was going to do in advance instead of just doing it off the cuff, which is how I started. Oh my gosh. And then yard work and being in the yard and being in the sun. I think I'm going to go paddleboarding later today.
Oh, that sounds so good.
I just and I do think maybe I'm missing, whatever. I'm not really, but okay. I did a show the other night. We had a Zoom meeting because this is the week I'm supposed to be in Seattle doing shows.
Mm-hmm.
And it was great. I mean, it was amazing. It was as usual, talking to people and families about their teenagers, whatever. I get life force from them. These families that we're talking gave me hope, Anyway, so I felt so great afterwards, as always, because it was a bit of a performance and it was connection with people. But it felt like I had to eat my vegetables to come inside this studio and look at my computer for an hour.
Yeah.
Instead of being outside where it was nice and we had been, the comics were there that day, helping. And in this case, usually these guys have come over and seriously helped me. I mean, like worked like dogs, and I pay them and everything. And that was the intent. They helped me unload the crap from Home Depot. And load up. I mean, we met me there and whatever. And then after that, they kind of abdicated. They really did. They sat in their thrones and went, we're hot and hungover and we don't really want to work. We're going to sit here under the parasols. And honest to God, whatever day that was, they watched me work.
Oh, yeah?
And it was fine. Pretty much, yeah. I didn't do a ton, but I did, I spread some mulch. I dug a couple holes. One kid got up and dug one hole, and I was like, yeah, look how much easier it is for you to dig a hole. You're twice my size and so strong and young. God, you dug that hole like it was nothing. And he's like, yeah, I know, I really should have been digging these other holes. And then he went and sat down again. And it was delightful, and I don't care. It was so funny. And it was like family dinner. They brought food. My grill was used for the first time. I have never used my grill in this backyard. The owners left me the grill, and I just was kind of like, what the hell would I ever do with a grill? I don't know. Last year, it was just a wasp's nest. I let them have it. And I thought it was defunct. I thought the grill was probably not even going to work. But the guys got it working, and they brought the food, and they grilled the food, and they made it. And we had a fire, and it was lovely. And I laughed so hard, it hurt. And that was ultimately what I was getting back to, is the sincerity overload. It's not necessarily just the insults. It's that hanging out with comics, like, we know we can say incisive things that are sometimes very hurtful because it's funny. But I mean, honestly, you can see like the truth of it. And that was back to my cold open, right? When someone is not the sincerity overload or the relentless positivity, which is funny because that's how I walk around the world. Like, no, choose joy. That's me. And I've just learned, like, it's not all me. I can't have only that. I can't have all sugar. Right? In fact, I can only find now the metaphor fell apart. I can only find the sugar when nope, lost
That's
it.
never once stopped me from finishing a metaphor. The fact that it breaks halfway, I just keep pushing on through.
I know you do. I mean, and I appreciate that about you, Andrew. That's intrepid. That's your intrepid spirit. But you know what I'm saying? Like, that is a funny thing to learn, because I think of myself, and I think others have said, and whatever, I have cultivated that personality to be joyful and to choose joy and that's what I do. And I go, but I don't know. I don't know. It's just that I miss so much being around the people, and you are one of them, and the comics are like that, but it's not just like a comedy thing. I don't know. They're a little bit of snark. You know what I mean? I need a little bit of, I see what this is, and I choose to say something funny about it, which sometimes is hurtful because the truth hurts, but it's the truth. I appreciate that. And again, this probably goes back to, in these days of quarantine, there's a lot of talking, and there's a lot of everybody needs to talk. I don't know. There's just something about it. And there's a lot of, also in the world of being single and dating, I'm so sick of, I keep saying this, like, I'm so sick of pretty words. Like, you don't have to flatter me. And now that it's the apocalypse, that's, I told you early on, I said, I'm kind of spending my time flirting with boys on the internet, and that is no longer very fun at all. Because it's just stupid. It's just stupid. And I just miss that's it. I miss my friends who know me, and I miss being around people. It's just whatever. I'm doing what I hate, which when people do, is giving you my hot take and my experience of this thing that we're all in, I heard somebody say we're not all in the same boat. It feels like it, but no, we're not. We're in the same storm, but not the same boat.
That is interesting. Yeah. I saw something today about Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. He's ordering people to stay off the beaches and get out of the parks and stuff. He's in a $14 million mansion with a swimming pool, right? He has no need for the beaches. His boat that he's in is much more comfortable than the boat a lot of people are stuck in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. See, that scares me. Like, maybe I shouldn't go paddleboarding. I can't tell. Is that stupid? Probably. Don't do it.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it. That seems so low risk to me. Right?
Does it?
Yes, it
not
does.
Touching anybody else, right?
You're not touching anybody else, and you're outside, right? I think a big worry right now is people have been talking about, when you reopen the restaurants, they're concerned about the virus being recirculated through the air via the air conditioner. Right? So when you're outside, there's so much more air moving around. It's okay. You're going to be fine.
Why are they closing the beaches in California, though? Because my understanding is that governor is doing a bang-up job, actually.
So I have no idea if he's doing a bang up job or not. Right now,
Merlin Mann says he's doing a good job.
The stats for California and the stats for Texas are really interesting because Texas has fewer cases per 100,000 people than California does, and they've done seemingly everything wrong. So, I mean, granted, I'm the first person to admit that all statistics are lies. That's literally my job, is to make up these statistical lies and find evidence to support them. So I don't know what's going on there. But I don't think that you're at risk of infecting any at-risk people if you go out on the reservoir with your paddleboard.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's good to know. Because that's the thing. I don't want to be a jerk about it.
The last time I went across the dam road, there were a ton of boats out on the reservoir.
Okay. Yeah. So I might go this afternoon. We were talking about being in different boats. Well done, segue. You saw tons of boats on the water. Yeah. And that's the thing. And realizing that we're all right. Of course, like I'm here with my swimming pool and my air conditioner, and you people are super hot and you're poor and you live in I'm about to bring the air conditioner back into the dollhouse because as we recall, it gets hot in there, like to the point that it's very uncomfortable. And to tell me to stay home and I can't go jump in a lake would be a different thing than to tell somebody who has perfect air conditioning and a swimming pool, right? Yeah, like you're saying. And even, that's something that I think most people are aware of. And so many people, I think, have been generous and like donated their stimulus money, to charities and, sort of gone, giving huge tips to Lyft drivers, DoorDash, and restaurants and local businesses and supporting them with gift cards and all of that. And that's wonderful. That's people acknowledging we're in different boats, right? And I love it. It's been weird for me because I've just been so really a part of everything, away from everything. I haven't felt like I could be generous like that, but I also haven't felt, I don't know, whatever. The boat that I'm in this storm is a very bizarre boat to be in. And I keep feeling still like other. I keep feeling like I'm a weirdo in all of it. And it's okay. I'm coming around to, I like my weirdo self, but I think I strive so much to find concord between people and choose joy and, all of that. We are alike more than we are different. I believe that. But this shit has made me feel more different than alike. And I think some of the rest of the world is coming to the other conclusion, right? It's weird. It's weird.
It is weird.
I also, like I said in my open, like it is a time and a necessary time to sit and figure out what your values are and stuff, right? And what really matters to you. And it's so funny because I realized for the first month, one of the reasons I was so bummed out about it is that I was so mad. I was resentful because I was like, no, I already did that, universe. I've spent the last 8 months figuring out what color is my parachute. And now I'm ready to launch myself into the world and get a big girl job that I know this and I love this about comedy, right? And I've set it up so that everything that I really love doing and want to do that was making me money requires crowds of people. And I can still apply for big girl jobs, but because it just seems like, we don't even know what's up. Holy crap. And I think I sat here being very resentful and winded, but also like truculent, sitting here going, but I don't want to reevaluate my priorities again. I just did that. I know what I want to do is go tell jokes to people. Can't do it. You can't have that. Well, what do I have? I still kind of think I don't know. But I feel other and I feel weird. I feel weird because I feel like other people really do enjoy talking about the statistics of it and watching the news about it to some degree, and even talking about how much we shouldn't be watching the news. But, and wanting to talk about the conspiracy theories, the various approaches to it and stuff. And maybe it doesn't scare them and maybe it helps them process it. And I am telling you still to this day, it's like, I'm better. I have some space now to talk about it. Like it didn't make me feel ill when you were mentioning statistics about the pandemic in this episode. But 2 weeks ago, it would have made me feel like I had to run out of the room. So I'm getting better at that. But why is that? Why am I such a weirdo about it? Everybody else can at least talk about it and have even make some creative responses to it, and I still have like nothing. I don't know.
Yeah, there's not a lot to have right now. And
there's not a lot. What
statistics? You say you got nothing, and I said there's not a lot to have right now.
Oh well.
the statistics thing I think is interesting. We can't talk too much about it because it's almost time to go. But no matter what your hot take is, the thing that I find interesting is there are a wealth of statistics to support whatever you want to believe. You can believe that this is killing us all, or you can believe that it's killing nobody, or you can believe that we're doing everything right, or you can believe that we're doing everything wrong. And there are reputable news sources, sometimes even the same news source puts out stories that support both views. And it's very, I don't know, I guess it's a choose your own adventure sort of book. But you can think what you want to think and find support everywhere for your specific choice. And it's very confusing to me as well. I don't know whether I'm right or wrong or what's going on. It seems very topsy-turvy.
Okay, I might have a little bit of a hot take on that now that you say it. So has it always been. That is
I guess I never cared about it though, you know?
Okay, because that's what I endeavored to teach you. In high school. That's the whole point of teaching rhetoric and English and AP English is, statistics is just one. Statistics is the logos of any argument. There's also the pathos that's going to be mixed in there, which is the pull at your emotions. You have got to know how to sort these out, and you've got to know when you are being handled. And I think I am hearing what you're just saying. That's interesting that you said I've never cared before. Because I'm even getting that from people. That's the hot take that they're having. They're saying to me as though I don't know, like, you know what? There'll be an article, and even within one article, they'll kind of contradict themselves or use the statistics in two different ways. And I go, I know. I didn't see that article, but I know. That's what it is. Oh, my God. That's part of, okay, now that does stress me out, what you just said, because it's like, same as it ever was. It's not new. They are not, the news media, all the way down to 4chan, 5chan, dark
4chan,
web.
5chan.
None of this is new, man. None of it's new. People manipulating statistics and facts and emotions to sway you towards a certain doihe. That's all it is. And that is interesting. See, like I said, I think I said it last week, whenever, and I say it a lot now. It's like the rest of the world is leveled up to my level of anxiety and seeing how bad things really are all the time, which is one of the things I am realizing is, and maybe that's why I go, am I other? Am I different? Am I a Robin Williams level something? Because as positive as I am and appear to be and am dedicated to being, I think it comes from a deeply, profoundly shaky, whatever place of going, everything truly means nothing. And everything is a tangled mess. So how do we make sense of it, right? All of that, I mean, on some sort of psychic level, I think the arguments of the media is making and people realizing it, like, do you know what? They said this one thing and then they contradicted themselves. And I go, oh my God, well, And then people going, so what I'm doing now is, I'm doing the due diligence. And if I see an argument before I spout off, I'm going to go do some research on it. That's a cool thing to say. I appreciate that. And I have heard that from more people than usual in my life, like saying, you know what, but I'm going to go and research that because I think it is Bill Gates doing this to everybody or whatever. But I'm going to go do my research. And then do you know that you can, and I go, yeah. And also remember, especially in this day and age of amusing ourselves to death, how do you find the veracity of something really? Especially if you will believe that there are people or forces at work actively trying to prevent us from knowing the truth for a myriad reasons, right? Oh yeah, that tangled mess of the messages we receive and how to make sense of them and how to not let them bring us down, because it can be so scary and frustrating, even just the use of statistics for different purposes. That makes you feel like, golly, there's no bottom floor, there's no truth. Well, that's always true. They always use statistics in every way they want. This is not new.
Fair enough, Mrs. Filholm.
No, but right? I mean, I'm sorry, that sounds like a soapbox, but right, isn't that kind of true?
It is
and
true.
You're realizing it for the first time maybe because it matters to you.
No, well,
personally, because it affects your life.
I suppose what I'm saying is I'm always on the lookout for people lying in statistics, right?
Yeah,
that's something, like you said, you trained me to do it. I think I'm naturally more skeptical than most people. That sort
You're
of thing.
A logical, rational thinker too by nature. That is true. So you are less prone to fall for bullshit, I think, than most. So yeah, I wasn't disparaging.
Well, I don't know if that's totally true, but that's certainly how I feel. And then right now, usually in my process of trying to ascertain the truth, I have certain, places I look to, certain things I trust, certain, I don't know, just that, like you said, the base truth. You feel like there is no floor. I start with base principles and I work my way up, and I'm having such a hard time finding those base principles or the sources that I've trusted in the past. I get conflicting information from. It's much harder for me to piece together the truth or what I think to be the truth than it normally is for me.
Interesting. Yeah, and it might be, and that's the truth. Maybe that has leveled up too. Maybe it is more intense than usual. I find it hard to believe if you just think back to like the last election and all of that and how much misdirect there was out there. But yeah, I mean, it's hitting everybody differently. Well, hey, okay, so here's the thing. Golly, that got less goofy. Let's see. So what can we tell our readers? Readers at home. Oh, I do have a podcast that I love so much, and they call their listeners readers just like we do. I'm going to recommend it. It is certainly not for everyone at all, but it's 2 Saturday Night Live writers, and one is the performer. Hold on. No way. I thought I subscribed. Maybe I did. Yeah. Las Culturistas with Matt Rogers and Bowen Yang. And they are, so flamboyantly gay and hilarious. And of course, I mean, so I feel like they are my soul sisters. I love them so much. And one of the things they ask all of their guests, it's an interview show. It's them doing shtick and an interview show about culture, pop culture. But they ask, when did you know that culture was for you? They ask all of their guests, when did you know that you cared about the culture? And it's really interesting. So, and when I look back to mine and the way they describe it and what their guests say, certainly one of the moments where I went, this matters to me and this is part of my formation, is I was in college. I saw the front of a magazine in a doctor's office that Gilda Radner had died, and I cried. I mean, like, I didn't weep and keen, but I sort of got verklempt and, shed a tear and went, why does that matter to me? So that's the show. It's like they ask people that. And oh God, I love this show. It has been the perfect antidote to all of the anxiety for me personally. So check it out. I don't know that anybody else will like it, but God, they're funny. So that's my recommendation. And I also recommend to readers, what else? What should they do they should stay safe and choose joy, right?
Of course, that's always true. Not just today.
I'm just trying to bring it back to something positive to leave them on. And if they want to know, iRobot Roomba, they should get one because it's awesome. I love it like a child, which sometimes means it frustrates me. But if you buy it without the affiliate link that is in our show notes, we're going to be mad at you.
Yeah, we will personally send you an invoice for the $16 we would receive.
Okay, good. That's better than canceling them from listening to our show. That's better, Andrew. We'll send them an invoice. Okay, great. Thanks, Andrew. It's been nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you too, Mrs. Filholm. Have a good one.
You too. Bye, Andrew.